Hello, everyone, and welcome to 3 Words, a bite-sized podcast about the simple and yet very strategic choices that we can make to become the best versions of ourselves. I'm here today with my dear friend, Casey Greenawalt, a very common guest here on 3 Words. And today, we both share a passion for this particular topic. The 3 words being...
cultivate close friendships.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I would not be sitting here today, Casey, if it were not for the close friends in my life.
Same.
And quite honestly, as I think about now that I'm moving into later years of my life, honestly, no one is talking about anything at the end of their lives except for people.
Not the car I got.
Not the car you got.
Not the house I lived in.
Not the business deal you sealed. It's all about relationships. It's all about human beings. It's all about that genuine connection to people.
Absolutely.
It's all about our friends.
It is.
It's all about our friends.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about this, particularly in light of our podcast, that oftentimes we spend the first many years of our lives focused on profession and prosperity and our position and our performance and all of the things that we want out of life that we would consider to be valuable.
Right.
But quite honestly, the thing that we really are preoccupied with deep down inside is people, is friends.
Yeah, I believe this to be true. I think back even to like being a kid, right? Like you're growing up, part of being a child is making friends. And it's a hard thing to do. It's difficult to do. And I love the first word of these 3 words because to me, cultivate, I mean, it comes from farming, right? Like the word cultivate. And when you cultivate your field, you're preparing it, you're getting it ready. And it's not a one-time process you do once a year. You're continuing to cultivate the fields as the year goes on so that you have a crop that is, worth making, obviously.
Well, and the reality is that these amazing friendships that all of us desire, whether we're children, adolescents, teens, or even into our later years, they don't happen by accident.
No, right.
Those kind of friendships don't just spontaneously appear. They require initiation. They require intentionality.
Yeah.
They require the decision to cultivate
close
friendships. Casey, and even those who are listening and watching today, I want us to really just settle into this idea and really think and reflect upon this notion that you are as close to human beings as you choose to be.
Yeah, that idea that you get into something or you get out of something what you put into it, right?
Well, and that's even the conversation that we're having even on college campus and as I work with companies and organizations is that oftentimes I'm hearing kind of in the margins of helping people develop professionally, man, I wish I had a best friend. I wish I had close friendships. Yeah. Without giving attention to the notion that I need to invest my energy in actually becoming a best friend that's becoming a close friend. Oftentimes we're sitting there going, wow, I wish someone would initiate with me and I wish that I would have close friendships without ever considering who am I becoming
the kind of friend
as
that
a friend.
I am. Absolutely.
I want to actually become the kind of friend that I am seeking for myself.
Be the friend I want to have, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. I think too, another part of this, the idea of cultivate, it takes time. And I don't think sometimes we're willing to put the time in. I don't know about you, but I'm really good at creating a lot of like surface level friendships. I'm really, really good at that. But when it comes down to the cultivating the deep, close relationships and friendships, that takes work. That takes taking off the mask and being real and being open and being honest with people. And that's really hard to do. But what's easy to do is talk about the Cavs game last night, asking about class, the weather, all these surface level conversations that aren't bad because you have to start there, right, to get somewhere. But I think a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this too, we just stay there.
Well, and this is actually one of the topics that both of us are speaking about and consulting with and actually presenting and keynoting.
Life coaching about people, one-on-one conversations all the time.
On a regular basis. And you actually just touched on a couple of the essentials of close friendship. Yeah. First being time.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're not willing to make the investment of actually hours and days and minutes of actually sitting face to face and making that phone call and pursuing that outreach, but also transparency.
Totally.
Is that, are you taking the opportunity to pull back the mask? To actually open your heart and your life and let people see you. And then 2 others would obviously be talking. There needs to be communication. And that talking would be transparent. And the other one I was thinking of was togetherness. Building memories, establishing really cool rhythms, even in friendship. So transparency, talking, togetherness, and time. And if you can imagine any relationship, whether it's friendship, whether it's close friendship, platonic friendship, romantic relationships, family friendships, that unless those ingredients are in place, it's going to be hard to be able to cultivate close friendships. But what's great about each of those 4 essentials to great friendship is that each of the four of those things are choices.
Yeah. And those are tools to cultivating those close friendships.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I oftentimes I think when we step into relationships, it can be easy to keep those surface level connections because it takes a level of courage to step in and to open up and to be honest and to be vulnerable. And it can be vulnerable, right? Like you risk being hurt when you open yourself up like that. And a lot of people, their experience with friendships, whether it's with their family or with their close friends in high school or college, they've been burned. They've been hurt. They're carrying those scars around. And so stepping into some new vulnerable friendships is going to be really hard for them to do. And I've experienced that too. And I'm sure you have.
Casey, love is always risky business.
Yeah, so risky.
Transparency and vulnerability always requires, and you use the word courage. But what's the alternative?
Yeah, right.
The alternative would be to live in this mediocre existence with surface friendships where we're feeling alone, where we're feeling isolated, where we're feeling unknown, where we're feeling unloved.
Yeah.
It's interesting as I work with very prominent leaders around the nation, very prominent students on campus.
Sure.
When they're really honest with me, they will talk about all of these connections and networks they're a part of and how many likes they have on Instagram and all the Facebook friends and so forth. And yet when they're really honest with me, oftentimes those most visible leaders with those multitude, if not tens of thousands of connections, is they shut the door behind them each night, is they turn in for the day. They will literally say, no one feel alone.
No one knows me, right? Our culture, we're more connected than we've ever been. And I love it. And it's an incredible tool. But the connection tools that are out there, whether it's social media, email, texting, Slack, whatever it may be, those tools have, in a sense, kind of built a wall for us that's kind of hard for us to climb over to get into those deep, more vulnerable, more honest, more life-giving, close friendships that we all know we can't experience, but it's easy to comment on someone's page and say, hey, that was awesome. Like those teas you were talking about earlier, that's not much time. Those are good things that you can do, but ultimately to cultivate those deep, meaningful, life-changing, life-giving friendships, those are going to take more than just a comment or a quick message here and there. Your son actually is great at this. I've taken his practice of calling people when he's driving just to cultivate those connections and those friendships because he knows I'm in the car. I've got time. I'm going to take time, intentionality, and I'm going to reach out and see what's going on in this person's life. I've taken a version of that and just started to text 3 friends at the end of every workday, making that part of my routine.
Fantastic.
But those little things, those cultivate those deep friendships that we all really not just want, but we need to live the best life we can.
And I talk about the 4 phases of friendship. And oftentimes most of us, if we're honest, are stuck in that first basic phase, which is the phase of acceptance. And so part of my personal journey is trying to figure out how do I go from acceptance to affirmation to accountability to authority. And I move my way from the most basic.
Say those again, because I think those are really important.
Of course. So the very basic level is acceptance. It's that ability that we're friends because we just...
I like you.
Yeah.
We're in some of the same things. Absolutely.
We're maybe in the same classes. We work in the same office. Your cubicle's around the corner and so forth. And so but we're stuck there.
Yeah.
Affirmation is what really takes the friendship to the next stage.
Sure.
And it's where you actually communicate how much that person means to you, how much you care for that individual.
Never letting a positive thought go unsaid. I don't know where I heard that, but I started doing that, and it has changed my relationships in my life. So you said the first one was, say that again.
Acceptance,
and then affirmation, and then following that.
And then accountability. The ability to actually say, I'm going to invite you into my life to speak to me about what you see. And again, most people are like, I don't want friends like that. And we've talked about that in other podcasts, and we have those conversations regularly. And then finally is authority. Where I actually trust someone so much that I'm actually so close to an individual that I will say to them, I give you full authority in my life to help me even when I can't help myself. If I'm making poor decisions, I want you to step in. I want you to seize control and say,
that gives me goosebumps even saying that, because it takes me back to even, this was like 3 weeks ago from the time we're recording this. I had a friend of mine who we sat down, we were just hanging out, getting together, hadn't seen him in a couple weeks. And the times I did see him, he said, I noticed you seem down. I noticed you don't seem yourself. You seem like you're kind of out of it. I've noticed this and that. And even some of the interactions with my wife, he noticed these little things. And there was a lot going on in my life. I had some job transitions happening that I was frustrated with. And he was just paying enough attention to me and my kind of mannerisms to notice and have have authority and say, hey, what's going on? Stepping into that space. And the reason I when you were saying that, I thought of that moment and I thought about, man, what would my life be without those close friendships?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have anybody looking out for me, but it's taken a lot of intentional moments with that person, that significant person in my life to create that trust and create that space where he can sit down with me and be like, hey, I think you've been acting a little different. Are you okay? What's going on in your life? How can I help you? And the heart that you step into that with too is not, you're wrong and you need to correct you, but what, are you okay?
Yeah.
Let me help you.
Well, in the changes we want in our lives, Casey, they will not happen without community.
Absolutely.
Change is a result of close community. Yeah. And so that said, I think we also need to be very careful and mindful that we choose our friends carefully.
Agreed.
And I've even thought long and hard about this idea of what do I want to be true of these close friends. And I'm not going to go into all of the 10 C's that I've kind of conceptualized for what makes a great friend, but there's things like compatibility and chemistry and core values and calling, comfortability with conflict.
Yeah, sure.
Communication.
Yeah.
Having that kind of commitment to one another where I'm with you, I'm going to invest the time and so forth. But I think we need to be really careful because it's easy to maybe make that quick connection. And it feels easy. Yeah. It feels seamless. And so why not just grab hold of the first people that we kind of surround ourselves with and call that kind of my community? I would be more selective of that. And this is why. Because we resemble with whom we relate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if you want to continue to become the best version of yourself, you want to surround yourself with individuals that are the best version of themselves, or at least on the journey to becoming the best version of themselves. Casey, I love being your friend.
Yeah, ditto.
And I love the friendships that we've developed even within our D&B coaching team and even talking about our friendships outside of these spaces because I'm fully aware that none of us would have anything to say were it not for our commitment
100%
to cultivating close friendships. For life coaching, consulting services, or to hire a keynote speaker, please visit dmbcoaching.com.